Have you ever heard of bionic rock and roll? No? Well, you're about to. You see, there was this guy named Robert Scorpio who went to college, and he took courses in computers and he took courses in music. An unusual combination. Well, when he got out, he decided to put it all together, and he invented bionic rock and roll. Now, it took him 5 years and 5 tons of computers, but he invented what he thinks is the music of the future.
Everybody ready? Let's go!
When I got out of school at MIT, I was very interested in the ability that electronics had to do a lot of new things that digital electronics made available at that time. And one of those applications was music. Music had always been my hobby up to that time. And digital electronics allows so many more things than had ever been able to happen before in the history of mankind.
Well, what about the music that you make now? Now, there are a lot of classical students listening who would think that this is the biggest perversion of traditional music that they'd ever heard. You know the argument between the classics.
But it is. That's the whole point. It is a perversion of traditional music, and I think that's the main thrust of the show, is that it is a perversion of what's really going on now, that what I'm doing is so totally different and perverse that's what it has its appeal, you know? The fact that when people see my show, they're seeing something that cannot be seen anywhere else, because there is nothing else like it.
We have here on stage the only electronic rock and roll band of its kind in the world. And before I go any further tonight, I want to tell you that I'm going to beat the hell out of these boys. So ladies and gentlemen, let's have a great big hand for the band, please. The band! I would also like to remind you that one member of the show is going to be working particularly hard for you. So I'd like to have a special round of applause for this boy. Ladies and gentlemen, the amazing tambourine player right down there. Come on!
With his background in engineering and his knack for bargain shopping for old computer equipment at government auctions, it took Robert Scorpio only 5 years to create his own custom-made band, consisting of 5 tons of equipment, 2 computers, synthesizers, and 600 miles of wire.
What I'm doing is I'm using electronics to allow myself to have greater control over a greater number of things. I have it so that I can push combinations of buttons to tell certain things when I want them to do this and when I want them to do that. Codes that I can punch in with my feet. When I start playing different kinds of things with my hands, I can create different kinds of sounds on the organ, which is also hooked into a computerized system which tells the drums that with that kind of rhythm we want this kind of that.
Now, some musicians argue that Scorpio's self-made electronics is too perfect and is missing the human element that distinguishes musicians. But Scorpio's style may also be seen as a look to the future, which means many musicians could be out of a job.
Musicians are the most vocal group when they come to see the show. They either like it or they hate it. And a lot of them are very, of course, worried at the fact that this doesn't. I've had my run-ins with the unions. Don't think I haven't. But the hell with them. The hell with them. You know, musicians come in and tell me that this is the most illicit perversion of the art of rock and roll. Well, damn it, 10 years ago, people weren't even saying rock and roll was an art. You know, so in 10 years, who knows what they're going to be saying about what I'm doing or what they're doing. I don't care. I want to do what I want to do, and if the other musicians can't get into it, fine, let them do their thing. I'm not going to complain about them.
In spite of what other musicians may think, the best measuring stick for a performer is always the audience, and Scorpio is winning hands down, especially with some of his unique stunts. But the most popular member of the band is Scorpio. No, not Robert, the robot.
He does have his moods. There's no question about that. And when we play in different places, the crowds react to him very, very differently. We've played in places where people have they've just seen the thing and they just wanted to know where the nearest exit was. That was all that mattered, you know. We've played in other places where he is humorous and they've laughed along with us and they've dug the whole thing and they've really enjoyed it. But the main thing is that they are amazed. He's another member of the band. I mean, the band they're my children, you know. They're each one of them has come from this basement, and each one of them has been put on a stage, and each one of them, in a sense, earns his keep and is part of the show. And we take care of them when they're sick, and when they're well, they take care of us, and they do their part in the show.
And just like their leader, the members of this band do indeed put in more than a full day's work.
Work for the money! You got it ready!
Okay, Scorpio, I confess, when I first received all the brochures and found out that we would be doing a story with you, my first question was, is this guy serious? And I guess you are.
No, the whole point is that I'm not. Ah. Well, the whole point is that I'm not serious about what I'm doing, but I'm doing it very seriously. Too many musicians and too many people just take themselves so seriously. And I can very unabashedly walk up to anybody, and when they, especially like when they ask me about the show, they say, well, tell me about the show. I say, it's the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen. And that's what I want it to be. I want it to be the most ridiculous, the most unserious, the most absurd thing that you've ever seen in your life. And hopefully that's what it is.
Well, what do you think about bionic rock and roll? Think it'll be the music of the future? Well, only time will tell. We'll be back with more Evening Magazine, so don't go away.
You're watching Sleepcore, media for insomnia.
Since the beginning of time, man has looked to the universe with fascination. Many have claimed they've seen objects flying through the sky at incredible speeds, while others claim they've encountered beings from another planet. If you saw a UFO flying over Baltimore, what would you do? Would you be afraid? Well, now you have an opportunity to find out at the Davis Planetarium at the Maryland Science Center at 1, 2:30, 4, and 7:30. They will show you your first encounter. Come see what it's like now through November 25th. It promises to be exciting, and you never know what you're going to encounter.
You're watching Sleepcore. Pleasant dreams. You're watching Sleepcore. Sleep tight.